A few months ago, there was a take made on this very show about Omar Mabson. We thought it was a little crazy. Maybe not.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen or your second listen every single day. This is a bonus edition of the show. We are joined by the Ben Taylor of Auburn Opelika this morning over at the Auburn Network family of stations. We'll talk about some of the big news coming out from Auburn's fall camp regarding the defensive line, which is crucial, very, very big. But then I want to give you some flowers because 3 months ago, 4 months ago, you came on this very show and you said, hey, Omar Mabson is underrated. He could be better than Alvin Henderson, and he could crack the rotation as an early enrollee true freshman. And I said, okay, great. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of hate for it. And now Omar Mabson is the talk of fall camp. I'm giving you your flowers, my guy.
Do I need to go after you upload this? Do I need to go down the chat and go, "What's up?" and just see who responds? Or
hey, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. But yeah, I mean the whole like
on that. Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean it's interesting though because like Jeremiah Cobb, they're limiting him because of an issue with his fracture finger, dislocated finger, or whatever it might be, which he needs. He's going to be a pass catching back. We assume like that's going to be important. And so that has allowed Omar to scoot up a little bit, and Darrell Robinson and Damari, they haven't been 100% throughout, all of the offseason. So he has taken advantage of that. But the thing is he's getting the nod over Alvin Henderson, who is a guy who's been here. He went through spring. And to me, that's the biggest thing is how this coaching staff is viewing that part of this depth chart.
I think Alvin has probably got some growth to do because he came from probably such a offense in high school where it was Alvin left, Alvin right, Alvin up the middle. Just give it to Alvin, let Alvin do his thing, which I think is a ton of experience that he gets to bring in just because he's touched the ball so many times. Auburn High probably put Omar in a position where it was almost more of a college offense than probably Elba, Alabama was. So that gave Omar probably a nod when it got time to look at the playbook. And so, and the talent's there. And people forget Omar at the end of last season played hurt probably the last 3 games and was even kind of ineffective at the end just because he was so hurt. So, and I'll double down on that Omar getting his touches during fall now is I sent you a screenshot of a text that you and I and our buddy Kyle had, and that was prior to signing day. That was in early December that I sent that. And the reason being is just because I like Omar as a back, that 5'9", that now 215, 220 is what they're saying he is. Which is muscle too that has come off, which he needed as well coming out of high school.
Physically, you just look at him and it's like, that guy's supposed to be in high school?
Right.
Excuse me? No, the way he runs so low to the ground, and it's not just because of his height. Like it's pad level, and he understands how to use leverage and power and where it comes from. And for him to have that so early in his college career where he's like literally supposed to still be in high school, it's impressive. That's impressive. Yeah. He's certainly got a knack for it.
And I don't know how much they've done in practice with him, but he was used a lot to throw out of the backfield too in high school just because they needed him as a dump-off guy and let him pick up a yard or two there. Yards after contact at 7A ball, he was pretty good at shedding the first couple of guys before it took a host of defenders in order to bring him down. So he never also shied away from it. I like now that he's got a supporting cast, like a collegiate football team around him in order for him to showcase some of his talents rather than just a high school team. Now, with that said, he's not RB1. I mean, Damari's going to be out there. I mean, you got to see those other guys that are going to probably be coming back right now being held out, as you mentioned, for precautionary reasons. But I do like the fact that against a South Alabama or against some of these teams that Auburn on paper is supposed to be basically way better than, we may get to see him a lot more just because he is at that 4 spot right now and could possibly, jump into a 3 at least in some of these, I guess, subpar games. So I think people will get to see the hometown Auburn Tiger, which there were people talking about heading into it. Oh, they're probably going to redshirt him. And that still could be the case. I don't know. I mean, depending on injury and health-wise, as I said, that's one reason I'm glad he did not go through spring is he was able to kind of recover a little bit throughout high school days. So who knows injury-wise? And then again, who knows injury-wise with the starting running backs if that escalates to something a little bit later on and they have to have it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be somewhat concerned, not panicking, but like you got to be aware that the availability of the guys ahead of them throughout the offseason and even some of last year, it's been a little spotty. And thankfully it hasn't been anything drastic, but if you got 2 guys that miss a span of 3 weeks or 4 weeks, like you need Omar to some extent.
Yeah.
And it's great that they have that option.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, we need those guys. I understand why they're sitting out too, though. I mean, we need those guys against Baylor. You and I have talked about that's a huge game for Auburn, game one. And then get them through the Baylor game, grab a win on the road on a Friday night, and then let Omar and Alvin, as was said by somebody, let them eat in game 2 and game 3 and get some experience, and then let those guys kind of recuperate a little bit. But I think that it's a great problem to have, Zach. I mean, Hugh Freeze in the offense they've got 4 running backs, 2 of which are going to be true freshmen that already could probably play at a lot of other places in the country as true freshmen. Sure. So it's a great problem to have having those guys. I mean, between the quarterback room and what you've heard and between the running back room, I mean, you got a bunch of guys in there that could be on the field at other places, and you've got them in backup roles here at Auburn. I think that's invaluable. Yeah,
no question. You can say that about a lot of positions. And there were a few spots where I was concerned about the depth. Running back was one of them. I'm not as concerned about that anymore. The other, defensive line, and that could be one of the biggest stories coming out of fall camp. That's next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at 5 Hour Energy. Ben Taylor, you spend a lot of time on the golf course. You got to love a nice transfusion.
Wait, don't tell people that.
Oh, sorry. Okay, my bad.
I have bosses that watch the show, by the way.
Hey, check out 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. They bring the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink without the alcohol into a quick, energizing shot. We've all been there, whether it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you hit that wall, or maybe you're on the 12th hole, Ben Taylor. And you're like, man, I would like a nice little kick to get me through, whether it's the end of the day or the end of your mini golf outings throughout the work week. 5 Hour Energy. I also love the focus that it gives you. We left Ohio to drive to Alabama at like 1 a.m. And thank goodness I had some 5 Hour Energies to help me with my my focus and staying alert in the middle of the night. So go to 5hourenergy.com, this number 5hourenergy.com. You can use my promo code Locked On Golf to receive 20% off your order. Locked On Golf, which once again, Ben Taylor plays so much golf.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Do not tell his bosses. The offer is valid only until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions, and it is not good for subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36 like Ben Taylor does on any Wednesday, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order Transfusion 5 Hour Energy shots today. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Some of the biggest news from fall camp, Ben Taylor, is coming from the freshman defensive lineman. And one of my questions about this roster was defensive line depth. Love the starters, and I kind of love some of the 2 deep as far as the rotation goes. But what we're hearing about these true freshmen, because it was all added, like it's going to be fine on the defensive line if the true freshmen step up. And it just sounds like Jordan Crawford, And then the other local kid, we spent, a few minutes talking about Omar Mabson. Let's go to the rival high school in Opelika.
Yeah.
Malik Autry, which I went to go see him a few times at OHS. And I mean, you could just tell who he was. I mean, he's like a foot taller than everybody else. But I was worried about his transition to the SEC, mainly because like he has a tendency to play high every few snaps. But it's like, okay, the whole reason he was recruited so high is because of his size. And if he gets that high level of coaching, could he turn into a star? And early indications is like he's ready to hit the ground running as a true freshman.
Here's my takeaway from, so as I kind of broke down how Omar looked in high school, now I look at this at the defensive line position, and the first thing that I thought about Malik was, okay, if he gets to play, he's going to be a guy that quote unquote takes up space. He's so big. I was with you as far as pad level. Like, I didn't know if he would be able to get in there and get any penetration, or he would just be a guy that, hey, don't run to that side because he's going to occupy two guys. He's going to plug a hole, and that's what they're going to use him for. Maybe get on some half tackles, not necessarily. But apparently he is shining quite a bit from what some of the coaches have said. He's been a bright spot even as a true freshman. So he's a type guy that I too see, Zach, that will be a big difference. Since he's a freshman, he won't get 100% of the snaps at all. But if he comes in late, he will be fresh. And against maybe some of those tired linemen, he can make an impact on the defensive line.
Yeah, I think so. But because that's what Hugh Freeze said. Like, a lot of these guys, we don't need 30 snaps a game from them.
Yeah, right.
Maybe like 10 to 15. And if Malik Autry can get you 10 to 15, if Jordan Crawford can get you 10 to 15, and then some of these transfers that they got for depth purposes, Dallas Walker, the fourth from Western Kentucky, or James Ash from FAMU, like all of a sudden it's like, okay, there's the depth that we were kind of concerned about. And Jay Hardy's a guy that I'm probably not discussing enough either. I've heard good things about him, especially from a size point of view. Has battled injuries throughout his career, but still, like, once again, how many snaps do you need from him? 15-ish, 12 to 15-ish, I think, from a guy like Jay Hardy. And so I think you have enough options now where you can spell, the Malik Blockdens or the Amaris Williams or the Keldrick Fox, which I don't want Keldrick coming off the field, but all of those guys, like, I think –
you want him
okay
getting
there now.
5 snaps a game.
What's up?
You want him getting 30-plus snaps a game, Keldrick Fall. We want to see him out there.
Oh, I want him getting – I don't want him off the field. Give him if Auburn plays 65 to 85 defensive snaps in a game, that's how many snaps I want Keldrick playing.
I don't think a lot of people got to see how good Malik is, because I was talking to Auburn head coach Keith Etheridge. They had their media days last week and was talking to him. We talked about Autry a little bit, and I said, hey, what do you expect to see? He goes, I don't know what to expect to see. He said, we ran away from him on every play. We never went his direction. And if Auburn High was doing that, who was one of the Final Four teams in the playoffs, I'm sure just about every
with
other
Omar
team,
Mabson.
Yeah, with Omar Mabson went the other direction. So if Auburn High was doing that, I'm sure the Thompsons and all the rest of the teams were running away from him as well. So I don't think a lot of people, they saw his junior years where he shined, because he didn't get an opportunity to shine in his senior year because nobody ran to his side. There was a 7'4" guy on the defensive line. I know he's not that tall, but in cleats and a helmet, he looks that tall. I promise you.
Look, when he stands next to like an average high school football player, he does look 7'4". Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Does. And so everybody ran away from him in his senior year. So I don't know that he got to shine as much as what we didn't get to see, what we probably will get to see on Saturdays or on a Friday night this coming fall.
Yeah. I interviewed Malik before his senior season at Opelika, and I asked him, like, what's the biggest thing you want to work on? And he said, developing as a pass rusher. And I don't know if he really did that, because I don't know if he was really given the opportunity to, but I'm excited to see what we get from him as a true freshman, because I think he's going to play. And so once again, like Jordan Crawford, Malik Autry, I think those guys are going to be a factor early.
You mentioned him standing next to high school kids. I don't think people understand if they have not seen him in person. He looks big against college kids too. Like he
the
looks
size
like
of our defensive front now. I mean, this is the biggest Auburn roster I've ever covered. When you talk about the O-line, the D-line, the defensive backs, obviously the receivers, maybe not running back, ironically, but like this is the biggest roster I can remember at Auburn.
Well, you mentioned though, and it's funny because you hear scouts already talking, and they've bragged on the offensive line. They've bragged on the size of the defensive line. They all have Keldrick Faulk. Every scout that shows up is there to see him and where he's going to be taken in the draft as far as next year is concerned. But you even mentioned the running backs, not necessarily that big. You know, the thing that you get with the running backs, though, Zach, every one of them are like the same size, but they do something different. They're all 5'9", 5'10", 210 to 225. So they're all like in that same, I guess, void. So it's almost like you get the quarterbacks and the linemen know what they get with the guys behind them. So I know it sounds like we're bugging a little bit, but I do love what we're seeing out of some of the young people, especially from the Auburn Opelika area, that are sitting on this team and how they can contribute their first year. And I think Autry's no different. And I get excited about a guy like him, as I said, because he hasn't been given the opportunity and is probably senior and even halfway through his junior season. Yeah. So now they ain't going to be scared to run to his side this time. Like he's going to see action. He's going to be able to make a play. Right. So it'll be interesting to see how well, and he's going against a great offensive line right now. So the fact that he's going against guys that are going to be better than a lot of other guys in the country, I think that'll help him grow as well.
Yeah. Recruiting Lee County. Who'd have thought? That'd be a good idea?
Well, we had one coach that didn't recruit anybody, so it didn't matter if it was Lee County or
unless it was
County
Auburn High School. He sat at Auburn High games every night. That was good.
Well, he was there to watch his kid, so he didn't recruit anybody.
I'm not here for work. Not here for work.
That's right.
One of the best high school programs in the state. Not here for work. Watch it.
But even the coach before that, it was a little tough to get Lee County kids in there.
You're right. 100%. 100%. Ben Taylor, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
AUnetwork.com is where you can find me. We do sports each and every morning just after 7, such as Locked On Wednesdays. You guys join us for that, as well as we got Jacob Goins on Friday. He's the voice of Auburn High. They're going to be calling a game. They're doing Thursday night games. He gets to see the Auburn game because they play on Thursday.
How about that?
Also, we mentioned the whole time the Auburn and Opelika, 100th game between Auburn and Opelika this year. So keep that in mind in a couple of weeks.
Interesting. Do you know what the
100th anniversary? It's fairly even. It's not right at even, but it's pretty darn close. I want to say that it's like 52-48 or something of that nature. So
that's awesome.
And that's with Auburn winning pretty much every year the last few years. So that lets you know how dominant Opelika was back when they were both in 6A before the 7A was even.
Yeah, when I was growing up, it was Opelika, and then recently it's been Auburn. So that's fun. That's fun. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.